When the sky goes green and the wind goes still, most people in the American Midwest run for the basement. But there is a small group of people who do the opposite. They get in their cars and drive toward the storm. Today, we're talking to one of them. Hello and welcome to What Do You Actually Do? The podcast where we explore the fascinating and often misunderstood jobs people have, and we learn English through real conversation. I'm your host, Alex, and today we're driving into the eye of the storm. Our guest is Emily, who has spent the last 10 years as a professional storm chaser, working out of Oklahoma in the heart of what's called Tornado Alley. Emily, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, Alex, thanks for having me. Always good to talk about chasing.
So, Emily, when you tell people you're a storm chaser, what's the first thing they say?
Most people quote a movie at me. Twister, mostly. Or they ask if I'm crazy. I usually tell them, yes, a little bit, but it's the trained kind of crazy.
The trained kind. So, in simple terms, what does a professional storm chaser actually do?
I track and document severe weather, mainly tornadoes, for science, for media, and for emergency services. I have a vehicle full of instruments and cameras, and when severe weather is forecast, I drive toward it. I gather data on what the storm is doing. I get visual confirmation when a tornado touches the ground, and I report it in real time to the National Weather Service so they can get warnings out faster.
So, you're not just out there for the thrill.
There is a thrill, I won't lie, but that's not why most of us do it. The data we collect helps meteorologists understand how tornadoes form, and the visual confirmation we provide gives people on the ground a few extra minutes of warning. Those minutes save lives.
How does someone end up doing this?
I grew up in Oklahoma. I saw my first tornado when I was 7 years old from my grandparents' porch. I was scared, but I was also fascinated. I went to university and studied meteorology. Then I started chasing as a graduate student in a research program. After I finished my degree, I started doing it full time. Partly for media outlets, partly for a private weather services company, and partly for my own research projects.
So, this is a real career, not just a hobby?
It's a career, but it's not a salary job. I have multiple income streams. I sell footage and data to TV networks and weather services. I run guided storm chasing tours during peak season. I do speaking and consulting work in the off-season. The chasing itself is maybe 4 months of the year, very intense, and the rest of the year is everything that supports it.
Tell me about your vehicle. What's it like inside?
My vehicle is a heavily modified SUV, reinforced bodywork, a roll cage, hail-resistant glass on the windshield. Inside, I have multiple computer screens running radar feeds, lightning detection, and forecast models in real time. A weather station mounted on the roof. Cameras pointing in every direction. A satellite uplink so I never lose connectivity. It looks more like a space capsule than a car.
So, you're basically a mobile weather station.
Exactly. And the most important piece of equipment is actually the most simple. My radar app on my tablet. I'm staring at it constantly, tracking storm structure and watching for the signatures that suggest a tornado is forming.
What does a typical chase day look like?
I'm usually up at 5 a.m. I spend the morning forecasting, looking at where atmospheric conditions are setting up for severe weather. By 10 a.m., I've made a decision about where to drive. By noon, I'm on the road, and I might drive 300 or 400 miles to get into position. Once I'm in the target area, I sit and wait for the storms to develop. Then it's a chase, sometimes for hours. By the time I get home, it might be 2 a.m. The next day, I do it all again.
300 or 400 miles in a day, every day?
During peak season, May and June, easily. Some weeks I drive 5,000 miles. The chase happens fast, but the driving and waiting is the bulk of the job.
What's the hardest part of the work?
Two things, the pace and the pressure. Pace, because severe weather happens fast. You might have 10 minutes between a storm starting to rotate and a tornado touching down. You have to make decisions about positioning, escape routes, and reporting in real time, all while driving on country roads with bad cell service.
And the pressure?
The pressure is that you're often documenting something terrible. We don't celebrate tornadoes. They destroy homes and kill people. When I see a tornado heading for a town, I'm reporting it to the weather service while watching it tear roofs off houses. That stays with you. I have driven through neighborhoods 10 minutes after a tornado hit. You see things you cannot unsee.
That's a heavy part of the job that I don't think most people consider.
It's not glamorous. There's a romantic image of storm chasers, but the reality is, a successful chase day is usually a bad day for someone. We try to remember that.
What about the best parts?
The science. When you watch a supercell thunderstorm rotate for an hour and you understand the physics of what's happening above you, it is the most beautiful thing. The structure of these storms is breathtaking. Mile-high cloud towers, lightning that turns the entire sky purple, a wall of cloud rotating slowly like something alive. Most people never see what storms actually look like. We do.
Do you have a memorable story from your career?
A few. Here's one that mattered. In 2019, I was tracking a supercell near Reno, Oklahoma. The radar showed strong rotation, but no tornado had been reported yet. I got close enough to see the funnel start to descend, and I was the first person to call it into the weather service. They issued a tornado warning 15 seconds after my call. There was a town directly in the storm's path, about 8 miles ahead. Those 15 seconds gave them maybe 12 minutes of additional warning. Nobody in that town died. I think about that often.
That is incredible. 12 minutes of warning saved an entire town.
That's the job. Not the big footage, not the YouTube views. 12 minutes is the job.
Got a funny one too?
Yeah. So one of my early chases, I was a graduate student. I was extremely excited, and I forgot the most important thing. I forgot to fill up with gas. I was tracking a beautiful supercell, repositioning constantly, and suddenly the gas light came on in the middle of nowhere, in Kansas, with a tornado about 5 miles away. I had to pull over at a rural gas station, fill the tank, and the tornado passed about a mile north of where I was standing. The gas station attendant looked at me, looked at the funnel, looked back at me and said, "Honey, you might want to pay first next time." I have never forgotten that lesson. I top up every chance I get now.
Pay first next time. That's brilliant.
Storm chasing rule number 1, always have more than half a tank.
For someone listening who is thinking they might want to chase storms, what's your advice?
3 things. First, study the science before you ever go out there. Learn to read radar. Take a sky-worn spotter class through the weather service. It's free, and it's the foundation. Understand storm structure. People who chase without knowing the science are gambling with their lives, and they get other people killed too. Second, never chase alone on your first chases. Go out with experienced chasers or join a tour. The decisions you make under pressure are not intuitive. You learn them by being beside someone who knows what they're doing. And third, respect the storms. The minute you stop being scared of them is the minute they kill you. The chasers, I've lost all of them. They got too comfortable. Stay scared.
Stay scared. That's a powerful piece of advice. Emily, thank you so much for sharing your world.
Thank you, Alex. Pleasure.
That was Emily, a professional storm chaser from Oklahoma. Now, let's review some useful vocabulary from our chat. Tornado. A tornado is a violent rotating column of air that touches the ground. They are most common in the American Midwest in spring and early summer. Second, supercell. A supercell is a type of severe thunderstorm with a deep rotating updraft. Most strong tornadoes come from supercells. Third, funnel. A funnel cloud is the visible spinning column hanging from a thunderstorm. When it touches the ground, it becomes a tornado. Fourth, forecast. A forecast is a prediction of future weather. Emily forecasts every morning to decide where to drive. And finally, updraft. An updraft is a strong upward current of air inside a thunderstorm. The stronger the updraft, the more dangerous the storm. And that's it for today's episode of What Do You Actually Do? A huge thank you to Emily. Join us next time when we trade tornadoes for rolling hills and old vines. We're going to Tuscany, in Italy, to talk to Julia, who runs a family vineyard producing some of the country's most loved red wines. Until then, take care.